tell me about the Disability Film Challenge Easter Seals and your involvement in it?
Yeah, the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge actually had a big part in getting me started, and kind of transitioning from a worker in the film industry who was showing up on other people's sets and helping to implement and make other people's visions possible to somebody who had their own voice, and was making things. I had all of these skills I had amassed from, a decade plus career in film. And I thought about what I wasn't seeing on screen, and what I would like to see. And lo and behold, the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge showed up in my Facebook feed as an advertisement, and I couldn't believe that something like this existed. I still can't believe that something like this exists, because even with all of the things I've discovered since, like Slam Dance Unstoppable, and other things we'll talk about, there's still very few opportunities, communities, organizations that are recognizing and supporting work that forefronts disability identities, and people who identify as disabled, parent or non-apparent. And so Easter Seals, I wrote to Nick Novicki, who's a comedian and actor and the founder of the challenge. And he quickly got back to me, and I had an issue with one of the rules, which was that there could be no swearing in a disability film challenge film entry. And I took issue with that. And so Nick immediately got on the phone with me, and we talked until I think like 1 a.m. Like the night before the challenge, or several weeks before the challenge, actually. And he was like, yeah, I've seen comedians that drop the swear words from their act and they're much better. And I was like, yeah, but disabled people swear, and I don't want us to think that they don't. And so I think, to this day, I still think I was right. But ultimately what I decided to do was to make something so offensive, so bloody and gory, that it would get hopefully ejected or kicked out from the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. Unfortunately, I did not succeed in doing that. I later learned that if you pay the entry fee and you sign up and do the paperwork, every film that is entered into the Disability Film Challenge is a valid and legitimate entry. And obviously, spoiler alert for the co-op, there's some blood in it. But yeah, no, there's no swearing. So Nick kind of won in some respects. But I've done 3 films now for this film challenge since 2016, 2017. And every time I do it, it's a different experience. And it always surprises me, and I always learn something, in part because every project I do, it's with different disabled people and different disabilities. And so every production is a new kind of tool in the tool belt, so to speak, for accessibility design and experience and thinking about those things. And I think the Disability Film Challenge just celebrated its 10th anniversary. So I didn't get, I think I was 4 years late to the beginning of it. But it's just one of the best efforts I see out there. I think it is single-handedly responsible for a number of disability film entries in any given year. And without it, they wouldn't be possible, because people are not funding to the level that they should film projects about disability. And so to have a challenge that says everybody come together in a film challenge environment and atmosphere, and for 72 hours make a film that probably wouldn't otherwise get funding or see any kind of support, because there's no mainstream understanding of disability, or maybe there's an ignorance of it, something that we don't want to see. But yeah, so hundreds of film entries result from this film challenge every year.
For more information, visit theavaproject.org.